You're listening to Affected by Altitude, a Colorado Rockies podcast for and by Rockies fans on Rocky Mountain Rooftop. Thank you for joining us as we discuss all things baseball and Colorado Rockies. Hello and welcome to a very special Rooftop Mingle on Affected by Altitude, part of Rocky Mountain Rooftop, a proud affiliate of the Fans First Sports Network. I'm Evan Lang, with me is Skyler Timmons, and today we are joined by Albuquerque Isotopes outfielder and top Rockies prospect, Sterlin Thompson. Sterlin, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Sure.
Jump right into here. Sterlin, it's been a pretty great season for you here in Albuquerque. Really strong season as one of the primary outfielders for the Topes. Is there anything specific that you attribute to having a successful season here in AAA?
Just the consistency every day, whether it's offense or defense, just, putting up numbers every day or, doing something good for the team every day. Just putting in the work before the games. Kind of through this long season, there's a lot of ups and downs, and you kind of just want to, stay consistent in everything and put in the hard work, and then I think, it'll even out.
Yeah, Sterling, I think what I've liked watching over, because you've been one of those guys that since the Rockies took you, is kind of felt like you're one of those under the radar guys where looking at your stats, you've had some good years, pretty consistent year to year in the minors, and in a sense, I don't want to say you're one of the more underrated players type of thing, but you're a little bit more under the radar because it's just consistency across the board. What goes into hitting for you? Because that was a tool that the Rockies really liked when they took you, was that hitting tool that you had, and a lot considered you the best college swing coming out of that draft, especially from the left side. But what is your approach at the plate? What's your mindset when you're stepping into the box?
Just the profile I'm in is just a hit tool guy. That's, as you've seen this year, power starting to show up a little more, but like my bread and butter is the doubles and balls in the gap, and that's kind of like what I stay with my approach, and keep a good strikeout to walk rate, find good pitches to hit, keep a good approach, but line drives all over the field where I spray and keep the launch angle from like 10 to 30. That's where I live, and I'm not the guy that just lives for home runs and stuff, but the ability to go the other way, that's something that I think I'm pretty good at, and that's what I use to my advantage. And then, if I pull a ball and get on one, then that didn't happen. But, more times than not, I'm living in the left center gap with my swing.
Hell, we've never seen a Rockies hitter succeed hitting mostly doubles before, right?
No, I know, once, when I played, like, the gaps and cores would be nice, for the doubles and triple. Everyone talks about the elevation and the ball flies, but the gaps are huge. And I feel like my profile fits well there.
And that's been the bread and butter for a lot of some of the Rockies' most successful players. Todd Helton he had the power, but he was mostly a prodigious doubles hitter, living in those gaps at Coors Field especially. We've seen it a lot from Ezequiel Tovar, and you currently lead the Isotopes in doubles. You have the second most home runs, so the power is there, but it's, living in those gaps has been a really successful part of your game, and it's nice to see, because even in, launching pad environments like Albuquerque, like Coors Field, the key thing is putting the ball in play.
So, I just think this year I didn't really have to square. I still got the ball up in the air and just using my leverage. Where like last year, all my home runs were balls that I got no dollars. This year, I'm starting to have a few balls that I miss-hit that start to go. Yeah, I'm in altitude, but I'm still getting the ball 30-plus degrees up, and I'm hitting at 100, 105, where last year it was all my home runs 108, 110. I had to get it right for it to go out. I'm starting to just use that power. It's starting to click in left field, left center, and then, power to the pull side, which I've had 4 or 5 years in pro ball. So.
Mm-hmm. And something I wanted to ask about that, hitting in altitude, and the PCL, as we know, is really hitter-friendly. Good places to hit. But what is that kind of preparation as a unit and a lineup as you guys are working together and with your hitting coaches, what is the prep like going into how you're going to attack an opposing pitcher and getting ready for games? What information are you ingesting? What are you guys looking for?
Kind of just look for, what's his go-to when runners on? What's he going to throw? What's his second best secondary pitch off the fastball, whether it's slider, cutter, changeup. And you just kind of want to eliminate one of his pitches that he doesn't really locate in the zone. And you I personally like to sit on like the fastball, go off the fastball, and then if it's slider, and if he has slider change, just kind of look the middle part of the field and like get the inside corner of the plate. I usually don't really like to, they can have the inside part, and then I'm going to drive middle in to middle away, and that's what I go to when I look at the picture. And then they have their plan, and sometimes they play to their strengths, and then sometimes they're playing to my weaknesses, and that's another thing. I have to figure out like each team's different. Some teams play to strengths, and then we got a team that's just going to my strength or my weaknesses, whether it's chasing high or back foot sliders. So they'll take a guy, like he's not really a back foot slider guy, but if you chase a lot of back foot slider, they're going to come at you through your weaknesses. So that's kind of each throughout the season, just finding which team results to that team.
It's kind of the ever evolving puzzle or chess match throughout the year, especially when you're facing the same guys in the PCL again and again and again.
Something I'm really interested in that aspect, talking about, trying to find the pitcher's weaknesses, trying to keep the pitcher from exploiting your weaknesses, is what is something that you do or have done to work on pitch recognition? Because especially as you're getting, up through the minors, the pitches get harder, the velocity gets higher, the break gets crazier, they just continue to improve, and you've got to continue to improve with them. What is something that you work on in those terms?
Just machine work. A lot of just, I put myself in a harder environment where the ball's moving in quicker. So that kind of slows down the baseball in the games. But there's no better tool than the game itself. Like the more games we play, the more ABs you get. That's where you just get real comfortable. You start laying off some of the nasty pitches that, start middle and then they fade off the plate. But yeah, I just think the machine work and then the foam balls off the machine, those go a little harder, and that just kind of emulates the game. And if you can go into the game and feel a little more relaxed and seeing the ball better, that's huge. So, and before the game, it's not like I'm raking off the machine, but it's more of just a pitch recognition drill. If you're just put the machine to just 85 miles per hour, you're kind of just, it's pointless. You got to kind of ramp it up and kind of go harder than what you're going to be seeing in the game.
Mm-hmm. And Sterlin, it's the best compliment that I can, that the way that you're talking and the way you approach the game, it reminds me a lot of Charlie Blackmon, Rockies legend, and just that sort of where it was a lot of the same, reading the interviews of the same types of things that you're talking about, of learning the pitch recognition, that good work off the machines, and how huge that is. And when, I'm sure you've had opportunities to talk to Charlie plenty, but has he been able to share some advice with you as a fellow lefty?
Yeah, no, in spring training, he has a little bit. He had this 10-second rule where each pitch, it's like he battles per pitch. The best one, you battle is the first pitch, and then you work on the next pitch, and it's just that 10-second rule where you focus and forget, and then each pitch is big, and instead of just letting that last pitch carry on into the next pitch. I think that's something that I really took from him. And yeah, just his whole profile as hitter matches up well. He's a doubles home run guy. And I really like the way he goes about his business when he played. And then now he's assistant to the GM. Now he's coming in more and giving more advice to the guys. And it's been a great piece, and it's great knowing him.
Has he shared any hair and beard tips either for you guys?
No.
Outside of Charlie, are there, any former or current members of the Rockies organization, players, coaches that you've done some extra work with, outside of the coaching staff down there in Albuquerque?
I've done, Jordan Pacheco, I've done a lot of work with him. Luis Mooney right now, he's our hitting coach right now. That's kind of some work we've done through the whole year. Just little adjustments here and there. But talked to Todd Helen a couple times last year. And yeah, just it's kind of so far.
Yeah. Kind of wanted to transition here, and it kind of ties into hitting a little bit, but no, I think the thing that I'd like to see this most that you seem to find a home in left field this year. You kind of bounced around on the infield, outfield, kind of that super utility guy, but this year you've strictly been in the outfield with a couple of games at DH. Have you enjoyed kind of focusing solely on one position, or do you kind of miss moving around? What's it been like defensively for you?
I mean, it's been great. I think Albuquerque's a good test for how Coors is with altitude, and then how big our outfield here is in AAA. So you really got to be on your game and cover a lot of ground and have good reads. And so I've enjoyed playing a lot of innings at left. I like left. I'm recently kind of getting a little more innings in right too. So just having both those spots helps my versatility. And then I think 80% is going in the outfield, and that 20% is still like kind of gonna be in the infield just in case. I'm not gonna just let that die. But for now, I'm just had a lot of confidence, a lot of work put into left, and I think it's been great. A lot of progress has been made these past few years in the outfield. So, yeah.
And it is maybe like I always wonder about this because we heard it from Hunter Goodman talked about it a lot. Where when he's catching at a specific position, he just feels like he hits better. And it seemed like sometimes when guys move around a lot, it gets a little tough because you're a lot of jumbled things. Has that helped you feel offensively, just focusing like, okay, I'm in left field every day, I can just focus on that and focus on hitting?
Yeah, I will agree with you. It does help with hitting. I just you don't as a player, you don't always want to give up that versatility that you provide to a team, but playing a consistent spot over 90 games and your day-to-day work in that same spot, you just make tremendous amounts of progress in a short amount of time. And that's kind of the case that's been. It's been good to just focus kind of got left kind of comfortable there, and then now it's like you can just let the bat play. But part of me, don't want to give up that versatility. Whether I played second, in high A, or played third in high A, and then played second in double A. So,
yeah. And since college, with that great Florida program, you've been all over the diamond, all over the field. But I want to go back to something you said about playing the outfield in Albuquerque being kind of a good preparation for Coors Field, because that's very similar to what one of your teammates, Braden Ward, told us when we talked to him a few weeks ago. And I was wondering, Braden very similarly, mostly in the outfield, but has been scattered around, also came up as an infielder originally. Is there anything that the two of you have worked on together in terms of working that cavernous outfield in Albuquerque in preparation for Colorado?
I think a lot of it's just like the positioning, like you got to play a little deeper here, and then working on the drifting, like you could kind of get in a bad habit of drifting because you think like these balls, like these routine flyouts, like you're like, oh, I can kind of drift this one. I'm set under it, and then the ball just keeps carrying. So like you really got to have a good first read for good first step, and then bust to the ball, and then kind of get around it with your feet. Where in our Double A affiliate in Eastern League, the ball's just not flying; it's just like staying there. So yeah, that's just kind of the biggest thing. It's just not so much like route accuracy is good, but like just getting to that point, getting this going and starting the feet on getting a good read is way more beneficial than your route efficiency. So that's kind of what we've been focusing on. This is bursting out the gate from where we're set up at.
Yeah, you've had an opportunity to play with a guy who's been around for a while and has been with the Isotopes quite a few times in his career, and considered one of the greatest Isotopes ever now, in Sam Hilliard. And what role has Sam played with a lot of you young outfielders, a lot of the guys on the team? Because he's been that leader with you guys. How valuable has it been to have Sam Hilliard?
It's been valuable. He's a great leader, just a great vocal guy, leads by example, and then just gives us tips every day. And I mean, he's had like 4 or 5 years in the show, and so it's just great to hear his stories, and he just gives us little tips, and it's been great. I really like the way he plays. He's a complete player. He's got power. He's got the hits full. He's got speed. Great defense. It's like a full 5-tool player. So,
I feel like he's going to be a great coach one day.
100%.
Sterling, question I have for you in terms of your journey through the minor league system is, you came in pretty much right after the Rockies switched up a bunch of their affiliates. So there are a lot of environmental changes. You're going from Spokane in the Pacific Northwest, which is a pretty pitcher-friendly environment, to Hartford in the Northeast, which is also not particularly friendly to hitters, and now all the way up at altitude with Albuquerque, which is a much more hitter-friendly environment. Going from year to year, how do you adjust to just that constantly changing environment of where you're going to spend most of the year?
I think just the different environments, like in AA, you have just a lot of younger prospects and stuff, and like they're kind of just raw, but they have some talent. Where like in AAA, you guys got a lot more polished guys that have a game plan and stuff, and each environment is a different test. And like AAA, you're flying out every day. You're going to sea level, to altitude, and the ball kind of changes week to week. And that's where like we can get back into Albuquerque. The ball is kind of just floats up, and then in sea level, it has a sharp break with the slider. And so like you just kind of got, when you go back into Albuquerque, you kind of just got to prepare for that week. And then sea level, you kind of got to go to the, like I said, the machine where the ball's coming in, or using foam balls when the balls come in a little sharper. That's kind of just been the way we approach things every week. And then I think as in the outfield, we played back a lot more in AAA just because of the altitude. And we're in Eastern League, you're kind of playing in. It's a pitcher-friendly ballpark, and the games here are like 10 to 11, or 12 to 11, and you got like 5, 6 ABs every game. But it's like I really like how Albuquerque is AAA for the Rockies, because it's just kind of just exactly how Coors is up there. And then with the travel, from what I heard, the Rockies have the most travel probably from any team of the big leagues. So that kind of just helps with everything from going from sea level to altitude.
And some that when your teammates, when we've talked to him, Kyle Karros, his kind of thing was just kind of keeping the consistency, not trying to really change the swing too much, like keeping the same hitting profile that you have. And you look across all three levels, like the numbers pretty much similar across the three levels. Slight variations, but generally you've been the same hitter at all the levels you've played at.
The thing about AAA, you don't really want to change your swing like each time. It's more just approach and plan. These pitchers, man, they've had 5, 6 years in the big leagues. They're 30. They know who they are. They know their strengths. They know their weaknesses, and they actually look at your weaknesses a lot more than the guys in AA or in High A. And I think that's only going into the show too. Like, they just ramp it up even more in the show. Yeah. So it's kind of like, I think everyone here in AAA has the swing, and then now it's just like who can have the best approach and plan for this pitcher for that particular day. And with their plans, they tunnel the balls better. Like they throw the high heater that just tunnels perfectly with the curveball. They have a plan, and so when you're doing well, they really replicate their plan so much where you can really, I think, ambush a lot more in this league, where you kind of know they're not going to change it, and you see a guy more than once, and he's not going to change his strengths. And I think a lot of guys rely on their strengths all these years of being in the show. They're coming down. They're not going to really pitch to these minor league guys, to these hitters' weaknesses. They're like, no, I got my stuff. My stuff plays, and I'm going to come right at you. And that's where, if you have a good approach and a plan, you can really, slug.
No.
Sterling, last real serious question here as we start to wrap this up. Obviously the AAA season about to end at time of recording. Tomorrow is the last day of the season. The Rockies will be wrapping up soon as well. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the goal next year probably is going to be try and break camp with the big league team if you can. But overall, my question for you is, what is something that you as both a person and a player want to bring to the Rockies organization, especially an organization that has been struggling so much over the last few years?
Just, want to bring to the org, like, just that consistent player, who can help out the team, lead by example, or just be that vocal guy. Just help a guy out, if they're struggling, and just being, and then as a player, just be that full, complete player. Just be that 5-tool player that shows up every day, and gonna go put a good fight, and be the great fielder, great hitter, and that's kind of what I want to do. It would be nice. I think we got a good wave coming in, and in the next few years we're gonna win. We're gonna win a lot more games with this group we have rising up. So I kind of want to have a good atmosphere in the locker, in the clubhouse. I think that's a big thing, and I'm really looking forward to these next few years. So
yeah, and we look forward to having you up there too.
100%.
Yeah.
Couple very quick, more lighthearted questions to wrap things up here. You mentioned the clubhouse. Who would you say? Question we've made a habit of asking people. You're in a desert island situation. And you got to pick one teammate who you think gives you the best chances of surviving. Who do you pick?
In AAA or like through the whole org?
Through the whole org is fine.
Best chances of surviving. I think I've been asked this. I think last time I said Drew Roma. I feel like he's always aware of his stuff, and he always he knows what to do, and he doesn't panic as much. But let's see. I'm gonna go with Caros. I think Caros, he's another guy that's got his stuff together. He's a very calm guy. I think through chaos, or when things aren't going crazy, he still keeps it even keel. And I think if we were lost in an island, he would kind of not panic and freak out, and he would get out of the island in no time. So.
I think we've had some people say they would not take care of specifically for the opposite reasons.
You just don't want the guy that panics, So through baseball, if you see, I don't know, I feel like the way he goes about his business, he's very mature with it too. So
yeah. Okay, real quick, who was your guy growing up? Who's the guy that you tried to model your game after, or the guy that you idolized growing up?
Oh, there's a lot of them, but I've always liked Corey Seager. I actually grew up playing short, in high school, but I just loved his swing and the way he plays the game, how he just leads by example, and I think I like his tall left-handed shortstop. That's kind of my profile on the swing, and that's kind of the player I like. And just watching him in the playoffs with the Dodgers and then with the Rangers,
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Sterlin, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Want to thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, especially, game coming up here in the next few hours, last game of the season tomorrow. But we really appreciate you taking the time to come talk with us today.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All righty.
Have a great off season too.
Yeah. Congratulations on a great season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All righty. So this has been a Rooftop Mingle with Albuquerque Isotopes and Colorado Rockies prospect outfielder Sterlin Thompson. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you next time.
This has been Affected by Altitude, a Colorado Rockies podcast with Rocky Mountain Rooftop, a proud affiliate of the Fans First Sports Network. Catch new episodes every Monday on wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Be sure to follow us on YouTube as well for video versions of the show.